Our next topic is carbon compounds, or otherwise known as organic compounds. An organic compound is one that typically contains both carbon and hydrogen. There are exceptions to this. Examples of the main organic compounds that we will be talking about are carbohydrates, proteins, lipids, and nucleic acids. Carbohydrates are the first one that we're going to talk about. Carbohydrates are made up of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. And those three are put together in a 2:1 ratio. So for every carbon, there's 2 hydrogen and 1 oxygen, which is where carbohydrates gets its name from. If you look at the first part, the carbo part, that comes from the carbon. And then we're left with hydrates, okay? Think of hydrates, you think about water. And when you look at the 2:1 ratio of hydrogen and oxygen, that's where it comes from, carbon and attached to water. There's different types of carbohydrates. There's monosaccharides, there's disaccharides, there's polysaccharides. And this is where those words or prefixes really come in. Monosaccharides, it should be monosaccharides, not monosaccharides. Monosaccharides means literally one sugar. Okay, so these are our simple sugars, things like glucose and fructose. Glucose looks like C6H12O6. You can really see that 1 to 2:1 ratio there. Okay, so that's our very simple sugars. That's what the body needs in order to convert that into cellular energy. You also take in disaccharides. Disaccharides means it's 2 monosaccharides that are linked together. These include lactose and sucrose. As you've noticed so far, each of these sugars ends in OSE. Okay, typically that's what a sugar is going to end in, is the suffix OSE. Polysaccharides, poly means many monosaccharides linked together. These are your complex carbohydrates, so your starches, glycagon, cellulose. Cellulose is actually found in the cell walls of plant cells. It's there to help kind of reinforce them, make them stronger. Our next organic compounds are lipids. Lipids are nonpolar molecules, meaning they don't have a charge on either end, opposite charges. We talked about water being polar. Okay, so lipids include things like fats, phospholipids, steroids, and waxes. Fatty acids compose your fats. Phospholipids are a special kind of lipid in which a phosphate group is attached to it. That's why it's called a phospholipid. And these are important in all of your cell structures. They actually form the layers of the cell membrane. It consists of 2 layers of these phospholipids. A phospholipid looks like this. It's got this phosphate head and then these little fatty acid tails. And so the cell wall, or cell membrane, sorry, is made up of these 2 layers. And because your body is composed so much of water, the fatty acid chains line up in the middle, and then there's water on the inside of the cell on the outside closest to your phosphate head. There's no water where those little tails are located. Steroids are important in many different body processes. The most common steroid is cholesterol. It's used for many different functions, helping make antibodies would be one of them. And then waxes are your other type of lipid. And because, again, they're nonpolar, they're not going to dissolve in water. They're only going to dissolve in other nonpolar molecules. Our third type of organic compound are proteins. Proteins are chains of different combinations of 20 different amino acids. Okay, they kind of look similar to what I have shown here. Okay, each one of those dots represents an amino acid. They're held together by it's called a peptide bond. Some proteins are polar, some are nonpolar. There's many different types of proteins, and they have lots of different functions within the body. Some types include collagen, which is found in your skin. Okay, and kind of gives elasticity to your skin, allows it to stretch a little bit. Keratin is also found in your skin. It's more abundant in your fingers and your toenails. It's basically helps to waterproof your skin, so water can't go in. So you're sitting in the bathtub, water doesn't diffuse into your skin and you blow up basically. It also prevents water loss in that same aspect. And then you have more in your fingernails and toenails, which is what makes them harder, okay, more durable than your skin. Antibodies are another type of protein. They're there to help fight off pathogens. And hemoglobin is a component of your red blood cells. It's actually what the oxygen binds to, and it's actually what makes your blood red, okay? Your blood is always red, whether there's oxygen combined to the hemoglobin or not. It's just a varying degree. If it's fully oxygenated, it's going to be a nice bright red. If it's not, if it's deoxygenated, okay, it's just transporting the carbon dioxide, then it's more of a maroon color, kind of like the color of the door in the classroom. Okay, blood is never ever blue, contrary to what some people may have told you or what other people think. Your blood is never blue. Your veins look blue because your veins are blue. You can't see the blood in your veins. The last type of organic compounds that we will focus on in here are nucleic acids. Nucleic acids are composed of nucleotides. Okay, a nucleotide, as you see over here, consists of our phosphate, okay, which is this little orange thing right there, a sugar, that's this blue thing, and then a base, okay. Types of nucleic acids include your DNA, your RNA, and adenosine triphosphate. Okay, DNA, short for deoxyribonucleic acid. DNA consists of 2 strands of nucleotides that stores hereditary information. Okay, basically what it's storing is the directions for making all the different kinds of proteins that your body needs in order to carry out its life processes. Okay, and these proteins, depending on how they're assembled or what they're coded for, help to make your traits what they are, whether it's brown hair, blue eyes, big nose, little ears, whatever it happens to be. It's because of the information that's stored in your DNA. If you look at a strand of DNA here, okay, you can see the double strands. Okay, there's one side here, there's one side there, and they kind of twirl around each other, and that's composed of the sugar and the phosphate groups. They alternate all the way down, okay, the side of your ladder basically, and then the bases are in the middle. Okay, that's the stuff right in here. Okay, and in DNA there's 4 different bases. There's adenine, there's thymine, there's guanine, and cytosine. And it's these bases that actually code for the different proteins that your body needs. RNA is short for ribonucleic acid. Ribonucleic acid consists of only 1 strand of nucleotide, and it actually takes the instructions that are stored in your DNA and uses it to actually make the proteins. Okay, proteins are made outside of the nucleus. The nucleus is where your DNA is stored, so the RNA takes that information that's in the nucleus out to the ribosomes, okay, and helps to assemble your protein. It's made up of, just as I said, the 1 strand, okay, and it too has 4 bases. It has adenine, guanine, and cytosine, just like DNA, but instead of the thymine, it has uracil in it. And another difference, besides the uracil and thymine and the double and single stranded, is the sugar. In RNA, it's ribose. In DNA, it's deoxyribose, which is where their names come in. And our third type of nucleic acid is ATP. ATP is short for adenosine triphosphate. And this is something that we will talk about a lot this year. This is what basically powers every process in your cells. Okay? It's composed of a single nucleotide, which is what is shown in the picture over there. It has 3 phosphates attached to a sugar, and then the adenine base. Okay, that's what the A is. As I said, it's the main energy provider in your cells, and it actually stores the phosphate bond, or it stores that energy in your phosphate bonds. In order to release that energy, it goes through a chemical process in which one of the phosphates is broken off. Okay, so that phosphate is released. We're left with something called ADP, which is short for adenosine diphosphate and a phosphate group. Okay, when that happens, when that breaks apart, that releases energy that's used to power every single process in your cell. So as I said, we will be talking about this